Today on CityCast Madison. It's the Friday News Roundup, and this week I'm joined by CityCast Madison's Hayley Sperling and Ava Wojnowski. On deck, Madison grapples with its storm systems after this week's heavy rainfall. The latest redevelopment proposal for a historic block downtown got its final approval from the city. And that means goodbye to Essen Haus and the Comeback Inn. Clearing up confusion around the authenticity of a major upcoming taco and marg festival, and some ferocious badgers are headed to the Olympics. It's Friday, July 26th. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about. Alrighty, doy, it's the Friday News Roundup, and I'm joined by the lovely Hayley Sperling, our executive producer. Hey, Hayley.
Hi, Bianca.
And Ava Wojnowski, our interim newsletter editor. How are you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing?
I'm pretty good.
We're thriving.
Ava, you're starting us off this week with the flooding, because it's been we can't ignore it. It's the big news.
Yeah, like you said, Bianca, it's been on a lot of Madisonians' minds. This summer has been quite the rainy one, and according to the Wisconsin State climatologists, Madison has seen over 32 inches of rain this year, which is 11 more than the average in a year. So the lakes are the highest that they've been since 2020. Mendota, Monona, and Waubesa are over their summer max amounts, and then Kegonsa is just under its summer max. All of them, however, are extremely close to reaching flooding levels. So the Dane County Land and Water Resource Department posts these levels, so you can check them out and keep track of them. I've kind of been looking throughout the summer, watching them get slowly higher and higher and higher and getting close to that kind of flooding level. So it's not quite there, but definitely cutting it pretty close right now. So could it be possible that Madison is maybe not built for the amount of rain? And it seems like the answer is that, yeah, it really isn't, because according to Deputy City Engineer Greg Fries in a Cap Times article, he explained that once a large wetland, the isthmus was filled in by developers, but not high enough to block flooding in unusually wet years. So while a majority of the drainage systems are capable of handling the high amounts of rain, some are not as up to date. Fries also explained to the Cap Times that there are over $100 million worth of stormwater projects to be done, but the city budget is only $10 million a year. So it seems like it's going to be a long, ongoing project all around Madison. The last time Madison saw some serious flooding was in 2018. This caused many city leaders to rethink. Fries further explained that the projects to examine and reevaluate the Madison watersheds are about 75% complete from what started in around 2018 with that big flood. But this year has been a little bit different, he said, because he talked about how it's been a lot more broken up storms and broken up rainstorms rather than one really, really big one that kind of rocked the city. So I did write an article for one of our newsletters telling folks how to prepare for potential flooding in their homes. So definitely check that out. We will link that in the show notes. But I'm very interested to see kind of what Mother Nature has in store for the rest of the summer.
Yeah, flooding is on everyone's mind, right? Because it seems like it just keeps happening. In this Monday recent deluge of rain, I found myself literally wading through calf-high water to get to our office, which was just kind of insane. I parked my car and I was like, we're just walking through this giant puddle, I guess. And that's what we have to do. But it's interesting because everything's a budget story, isn't it? Right? You mentioned that there are probably over $100 million worth of stormwater projects to be working on, but the city's only budgeted for $10 million a year. And who knows if and how that number will change. We can't change the fact that we live on an isthmus. Development is really hard. I know this is something that we talked about in a News Roundup story last week that Bianca brought up. A West Side development, they're concerned about the development impacting a lack of wetlands and whatnot, which is something that we're always considering. But it's crazy to just see this stuff just keep happening time and time again. And I'm wondering if the city's going to have to perhaps start to reprioritize and put those streets and stormwater projects up in the higher priority.
It certainly seems like it. Seeing images. I don't know how I missed it. I was over in Monona or something. But one of the days I had friends posting on Facebook, and the water was coming up. Like, it looked like people's engines are going to get totally flooded. Like the water was coming up so high, like right over by where I live. But then it went away. But it comes back. But now it's starting to be like, well, there will be a saturation point. And I was walking over by San Damiano over in Monona, and there was like, oh, there's a new little lake here. There's a lake next to Lake Monona because there's just so much water. Yeah, it's the opposite problem that we had last year. We've been discussing it. You talked about you quoted the state climatologist, Ava. We've had him on the show twice, and he told us last time we talked, he was like, I might need to come on the program more frequently because the weather patterns they're more extreme and it's happening seasonally. So this is definitely something that the city is certainly in planning mode for, and we'll see how that wraps up.
I literally posted like a photo of flooding. I think it was on like Livingston and Mifflin was where I had taken a photo of this, like I said, almost knee-high water and posted on my Instagram story. And one of my friends commented, they're like, I literally thought that this was a canal in Amsterdam and like wouldn't have known the difference if the street sign wasn't in it. So it's just, it's insane. It's insane. Yeah.
It's really, really crazy. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. So we will just look to the experts and the engineers for how to move forward, because obviously this is something that will take some time and resources. Speaking of city plans and changing the looks of our streets, we'll be talking about some of that. But before we dive into any more news, let's take a quick break.
Hi, I'm David Plotz, the CEO of CityCast. The best way to learn a language is immersion, living where the language is spoken and using it every day. That's how I learned French as a kid. But if that's not in the cards for you this year, you can still learn a language the second best way, and that's with Babbel. I live in a city with a huge immigrant population. You probably do too. And in my hometown, a lot of my new neighbors speak Spanish as a first language, and we have lots of great Mexican and Central American and South American restaurants and stores. I wanted to be able to communicate just a little bit better with some of my neighbors. So I started with Babbel, the science-backed language learning app that actually works. And after just a few extremely enjoyable weeks learning Spanish with Babbel, I've already gotten comfortable ordering at a restaurant and eavesdropping on my girlfriend's conversations with her mom. Look, learning a language isn't always easy, but with Babbel it is fun and it feels useful, basically immediately. That's why Babbel has over 16 million subscriptions sold. Plus, all of Babbel's 14 award-winning language courses are backed by their 20-day money-back guarantee. Here's a special limited-time deal for CityCast listeners. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/citycast. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/citycast. Spelled BABBEL.com/citycast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
This podcast brought to you by Ring. With Ring cameras, you can check on your pets to catch them in the act.
Izzy, drop that.
Or just keep them company.
Aw, I'll be home soon.
Make sure they're okay while you're away. With Ring. Learn more at ring.com/pets.
The city has signed off this Wednesday on a new redevelopment project for the downtown block that has the Essen Haus and the Comeback Inn. That's the corner of South Blair and East Wilson. It's in a historic area, and it's that area of downtown, like right where you're about to get onto John Nolan, that sort of power intersection. Madison's Urban Design Commission Wednesday granted final approval, which is wild because this has been a process. There's been many proposals for this area for redevelopment, and it looks like it's going to happen. So it's already gone through successfully the Landmarks Commission, the Plan Commission, and City Council. So the project, it's an 8-story, 178-unit apartment building and a 6-story, 100-room hotel. So the apartment building's going to also consist of some low-cost housing, which is awesome. which that is in accordance with a zoning change that was made last year. So, we're looking for more affordable housing in Madison. This is one of those areas that's going to have it. A zoning change made last year allows developers to build extra floors in if they offer some of the additional units at lower rents. So that's cool. City in process. So great news. The sad news is that Essen Haus is going to be no longer. Essen Haus will be completely demolished. Essen Haus is 42 years old. It's this long-running business, and it just feels weird to hear that it's going away. It opened in 1983, and it's designed and decorated as a traditional German beer house, and it embodies the world of that fun German space. And so that's really sad. There will be some historic preservation happening in this redevelopment. I saw that the developers are working to keep some of the designs of the facades of the comeback in, but Essen Haus, that whole building, is going to be gone. So Auf Wiedersehen to the Essen Haus. It's weird. I don't believe it. It's like the kind of news that you hear and you're like, no, that's not happening. Essen Haus, that's like one of our staples. That's not going anywhere, but it is. Have you guys been?
It's so crazy because I can't count how many times we've talked about this story, right? Over the years, just in general, someone is always planning to tear down the Essen Haus, and it's never gotten this far in the city approval process. It's always been we don't like XYZ, or the city says we don't like this or this. And so the developers go back to the drawing board and then ultimately get shot down, or they give up, or pandemic happens and they're like, nope, this is not going to happen. But now here we are. It is actually happening, more or less. I'm not going to say it's actually happening until construction is happening and these buildings are being torn down, because I should know better. But it's in the works. It's moving forward. It doesn't seem like there's been that much pushback from the city. They came to the developers and asked them to make some changes, and the changes have gone over, it seems relatively smoothly. So it's definitely going to be a loss for folks who love the Essen Haus. One of whom is my boyfriend. That's his favorite place to go.
Oh, it is? Yeah. It's just it's full of character. Yes. And I saw an interview recently, I think on Spectrum News. They talked to the owner, and they were just talking about the vibe that they tried to create there. Apparently it's Gemütlichkeit, a German word to describe the state of feeling warmth and friendliness and good cheer. And a quote from him is they made the place make it feel like you're attending a wedding you didn't get invited to, which I think is a great descriptor, the big beer booths, they have all of the vibes. So, but like you said, the city, you haven't seen too much ruffles around this latest proposal. And also the owner said that he's happy with it. So that's kind of huge. Essen Haus opened in 1983. It's been running for 42 years. And if the owner's giving their nod of approval, maybe it's time. I don't love that. It feels super weird. But to your note about, there have been 4 proposals that have come since the year 2000 for this downtown block, and this is finally something is going to stick. And the reason why it's been harder is because it's a part of the first development district in Madison. It's stricter for development because of those historic reasons. And something that's cool is that the Hotel Ruby Marie, which is also on that block, that will stay. Mm-hmm. So that was actually originally built in 1875. So it is truly a historic part of that first settlement district. But that was remodeled in 2000. So both the Hotel Ruby Marie and the bar that's there, that's gonna stay. So I don't know. There's something about it in my mind. I'm just goodbye, Ruby Tuesday. But the Hotel Ruby Marie's is staying. But Essen Haus come back in. They're gonna be open at least through the summer, and they're expecting those are gonna close early fall. So we're gonna
have to go out, one last boot for the table, do a little dance. There are, thankfully, Prost isn't too far away, so if people are missing that German beer hall vibe, you don't have to go too far, thankfully.
That's so true. That is such a cool spot too in the church. It's really neat.
It's so cool. And I'm glad to see that they're actually, it seems, I don't want to say thriving because I haven't actually been there, but my friends have and they seem to enjoy it. And it's lasted, at least a little while at this point. So like, it's nice to see that they're doing well because so many places have tried to exist in that church space and it hasn't worked out, but it seems really cool.
Yeah, they've got great beer selections. And like, honestly, I think I had their pretzel and it's the size of 7 people's faces. So it's a good time. Speaking of a good time, we're not sure about this next event. It sounds like it's going to be a good time, but it sounds like there's a little strange story around an event that's coming here to Madison.
Yes. So I have a news story about an event that has yet to take place, but in order to paint the full picture of this story and this whole scenario that we're in, I first must take y'all back to 2021. Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Never been readier.
Set the scene.
Readier.
Set the scene. It's 2021, which seems like last year, but also seems like a lifetime ago. In my life, I had just started Madison Minutes, and I was up searching for news stories to put into our fine newsletter. And this was back in the day that I used to literally get up at 5:30 in the morning to write that email. Thankfully, we don't work that way anymore. But anywho, people on Reddit were talking about this festival that was going to come to Breeze Stevens Field called Madison Taco Fest. Pretty self-explanatory. You buy a ticket to get entry, you buy tacos, you drink margaritas, you have fun, sure, right? But the company, there's a big but coming, right? But the company behind that festival had gained a reputation for putting on, and to put this lightly, less than stellar events. People across the country in states that have hosted similar events put on by the same company had a lot to say about this company and about their taco fest. They complained about long lines, disorganizations, ill-prepared vendors, and kind of just an overall bad time. There were several pretty big news stories that came out from those like local news channels in those states, and the overall story was that people were pretty peeved. So with those new allegations and information coming to light, Breeze Stevens eventually pulled the plug on the event. No tacos or margs for Madison. Sad day. But fast forward to 2024. And once again, I'm lurking on the Madison Reddit because that's what I do, and someone had posted about a new taco and marg fest coming to town, this time at the Alliant Energy Center. And people who remember 2021 are very wary of the situation, and kind of rightfully
Fire
so.
Festival 2021.
Wait, is it Taco Fire Fest? Because to put it frankly, like the online information about this event was pretty scarce. At the Alliant Energy Center, it's a Dane County operated organization, right? So like you expect it to be like kind of buttoned up, kind of official, kind of have their T's crossed and I's dotted, whatnot. The information was pretty scarce online. And the only links that were connected to the event, like via Alliant, were to a Ticketmaster page. And until very recently, when folks went to purchase tickets, there wasn't any distinction between the higher level price tickets and the general admission one. I will say that has since been updated. But, as a journalist, I was super curious. I was like, is this Fire Taco Fest 2.0? Is this happening again? I'm having huge deja vu. So I did my research. I was combing through the Alliance Facebook page and just to see what they were talking about with this event, because they're event promoters. I expect to see a lot of promotion for such event. And they had posted a couple of things about this upcoming Taco and Marg event that's happening August 17th at Alliant. And in each post, there were people who were kind of expressing the exact same sentiment that I'm talking about now. They're worried about scams. They're bringing up 2021. They're talking about other states that have gone through similar things. But Alliant did a good job. They responded on their socials and they pointed out, they're like, hey, we are the ones that are organizing this event and we are doing our best to make it great. So personally, I still have a lot of questions because I fell down this rabbit hole and I'm very curious. So again, I did what journalists do. I picked up the phone and I called the fine folks at the Alliant Energy Center. And after playing a little bit of phone tag, I finally got to chat with a very nice man from the Alliant who kind of helped talk me through the situation. And basically, like, what he's saying is that, again, Alliant is putting on this event. They are co-producing it with these other like national organizers, and those national organizers are really in charge of the marketing. So they're in charge of social, and they're in charge of putting out those like paid advertisements, and they also helped book some of the live entertainment and whatnot. So I was just kind of like, you know, what's going on? And I had brought up the 2021 situation to him, and I was like, did you know about this? And he was like, no, we didn't really know. We weren't aware. But it's kind of, they're taking it as a challenge to step up to the plate and to put on a really solid event. So they have a really big stake in what's going on. They've announced 2 local vendors already for the event, and they say there are many more to come. And if people are worried about financial scams, I wouldn't be. Alliant explained that they're in charge of the ticketing. And again, like, these are county employees, like these are county facilities. They're not messing around. They're not going to mess around with their money. And they also assured us that there is like an in-house catering team that is putting together menus to assure that there will be enough food for everyone. And they've already booked local entertainment, local DJ, and local like wrestling, which is kind of cool. So yeah, they're really taking this event and really looking to rise to the occasion to pull it off. They invited us to come, so we're going to have to go check it out, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, Taco and Marg Fest at the Alliant Energy Center, August 17th.
I don't mean to rib them because I partially get it, but like the title tacos and Marg Fest to me just like screams like a Facebook event for your friends. Like, you're probably just like, it's so casual. You think it'd be great, but it's just like, it's so casual. It seemed like a scam.
Like, no, that's so real.
I got a text that had a link in it and it said mocktail hour. Your friend has invited you. Click this link. And it just has some generic picture. And I'm just like, this is a scam, you know, like there's so much out there that is like the scams are getting more creative. It's like, oh, it has my friend's name in it. For all I know, this is a real event, but like tacos and margs, like it's just like, for the Alliant Energy Center, it's such a, I don't know, maybe if they had like a more official sounding name, like to me it just sounds like barbecue in the park, you know? Like,
right. It's
who
like,
knows
come
it,
join.
You know? I don't know. But yeah, they kind of stepped into it a little bit with this.
I think they did kind of step into it a little bit because I don't think they, again, knew the history of Taco and Marg Firefest that has happened across the country. And I mean, it's literally, yeah, it's called Madison Taco and Margarita Festival. They're billing it as Madison's biggest taco and marg festival, which is like, sure, that's cool, but also
just
like how many are there?
Park. Everyone's the biggest. Sorry. Now they're gonna be mad. They're like, you're uninvited.
It's the only?
Well, so no, that's a good question, Ava. Like, it's not even the only Taco and Marg festival that's happening that day. There's another Taco and Margarita festival happening over at 7 Acre Dairy Company. And that whole situation, because I asked the Alliant, I was like, did you guys know that there's literally another Taco and Marg Fest happening on the same day? And they're like, yeah. He was like, I think that they posted about their event like 2 hours after we posted about our event. And it just seems like no one on either team knew that the other event was happening. So that really is just all one giant coincidence. But, you know, the folks at Alliant were saying, they're like, you know, these events are for different kind of people, different folks. They're going to be attracting different audiences. And for what it's worth, you could go to both. You could make it happen if you really wanted to get your full fill.
Day.
Full taco day. So Taco Fest.
They really cornered every market. Who doesn't love tacos and margaritas?
I mean, truly,
like, those are the best.
Truly, they are. It's the great unifier.
In a bind, and we're like, is this for real? Because
all on August 17th.
We went through it last time.
It's all going down August 17th. Again, Alliant is they're staking their flag in this one, and I hope that they do it. I hope that they pull it off. It seems like it. They pull off dozens and dozens and dozens of events in a year. So hopefully this will just be another great one for them, and we're going to have to check it out and see what happens. And it's crazy, it's really crazy. But we're talking about tacos and margs. There's another big international event happening right now, isn't there, Ava?
Yeah, I'm super excited about this one. I'm going to be talking about it all the next couple weeks. So sorry in advance to anyone who speaks to me, because I'll probably never shut up about it. But the Olympics are starting today. So I'm super excited about that. And we have today. I know, I was thinking about you, Bianca, when I said that. I didn't really give it my all there. But
you have a moment. Go ahead. No, just kidding.
I can try again. But there will be 17 former and current Badgers in Paris for the Olympics this year, not only competing for Team USA, but also for other countries. So I wrote a whole article in our newsletter about all the athletes going and the events that they will be in. So I won't bore you with all the details, even though I want to, because it's so cool and so exciting. But I do want to shout out the 2 younger athletes that are going this year, both of which are on UW's swim team. We have 19-year-old Jaden Eicherman Gregorschuk will be representing Germany as a diver. He will be coming to UW in the fall as a freshman and will be a diver on the swim team. And then we also have Phoebe Bacon. She is also on UW's swim team, as I said. She is 21 years old, and she is already going to her second Olympics this year, which is crazy.
That's nuts.
She competed in 2020 as a 19-year-old, but that isn't even the craziest part. When she was just 14 years old, she qualified for the 2016 Olympic trials. So she's no stranger to the Olympics. She's definitely ready to tackle it again. Absolutely insane to be a 14-year-old going to the trials, and now a 19 and 21-year-old going to your second Olympics. So super excited to see how the Badgers do, and I know a ton of us will be cheering for them all the way in Madison. So something I'm super excited about in the next couple weeks.
Phoebe's bringing home the bacon. Sorry,
yeah,
Phoebe, if you don't like that, but I love it. Go Badgers. All right, there's another week of great news with great people. Ava Wojnowski, our interim newsletter editor, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
And Hayley Sperling, our executive producer, thanks so much.
Thanks, Bianca.
Hey y'all, we talked about some upcoming events in today's episode, and I want to quickly tell you about another upcoming event. Next Tuesday, July 30th, I'll be in conversation with community leader Reverend Dr. Alex G. He and his team for his podcast, Black Like Me, are celebrating the start of their 10th season. We'll be talking about Madison culture, the creation of the coming Center for Black Excellence in Culture on South Park, and much more. Plus, live music. This is going to be at Cafe Coda over on Willie Street at 7 p.m. Are you interested? If you want to come, we've dropped a link to the event in our show notes, and they're asking folks to RSVP. So thank you a million, and hope to see you there. That's all for today here on CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, your host. We're produced by Phil Circus and Elizabeth Kama. Hayley Sperling is our executive producer. Our theme music is by Carl Christensen. Ava Wojnowski is our interim newsletter editor. You can always get more news delivered right to your inbox by subscribing to Madison Minutes. And if you enjoyed today's show, why not share this podcast with someone you'd tossed your jacket on a puddle for? See you back here Monday morning with more news from around the city. Until then, have a wonderful weekend.